name's Gadd. This is a support video for my Talking with Spirit course that's online. On the course we do lots of meditations and we do work projects. Again, we're doing these relaxation process and meditations to open up all our chakras. The purpose of this is to create what I call a conscious shift. So a conscious shift is very simple. It's where you're conscious of now, here, where we are, conscious of your surroundings. If you're doing a reading, you'll be conscious that you're sitting next to someone. And the shift is to become more conscious of the spirit. Become, I suppose, to increase your consciousness, to increase the vibration, so it's a higher vibration, so then you connect with spirit. Now the reason we teach the opening of the chakras is so you can open up your chakras and experience how that feels. Once you know how that feels, once you know how to create that conscious shift, and you know what the conscious shift feels like, it's very easy then to do it without having to open all the chakras. So it's not that you're not opening the chakras, it's just that it's happening automatically. So you think spirit, and as you feel that as you've then sort of shifted your consciousness, you've taken your consciousness away from this plane, from this life, the physical presence, to more the spiritual presence. So when you're doing a reading, you're having to shift your consciousness to hear spirit, and then you come back, talk to the person that you're doing the reading for, and you can sometimes get a balance where you're sort of still able to communicate. You see there, I had to stop talking because I was listening to spirit. So you get in this, you sometimes can be in this position where you can hear them word for word and say what they're saying word for word at the same time. It's extremely hard, and usually you find a lot of psychics or a lot of mediums, they'll go quiet, listen to spirit, talk back to you if they're doing your reading. And even on shows or events, they sort of go off into their own little world and talk with spirit, and then they start talking back to the people, or they verbalise what they're hearing from spirit at the same time as they're hearing it. So, hi, I'm Dad. It's getting quite cold, and he's on about it being in October, and he's on about Halloween. And he's also on about November the 5th for fireworks, which was actually a wedding anniversary for this gentleman that I can now feel. So, and I know the gentleman, so I know it's his anniversary there for November the 5th anyway, so I'll confirm that. But so you're sort of shifting in and out of that conscious state. You're coming back, talking, and then listening for spirit again. And the conscious shift is a bit like a daydream. When you look at people's expressions when they do the conscious shift, they sort of go into a daydreamy, staring into space look, and then they come back, and then they go into that conscious shift. Now I believe some people have the conscious shift permanently. For instance, if you're in a coma, if you lose consciousness with this world, you may be shifting to other aspects, to other, I suppose, to other, I'm trying to think of the words for it really, to other levels, to other vibrations. That may be higher or lower, but higher if you're going towards spirit. And this is why I feel that through mediumship or through psychic abilities, it's possible to communicate to someone who's not necessarily fully conscious here. And like dementia is another one. Sometimes I have had people talking to me that I felt was from spirit, and then the person said they're still alive, and I've said, well, I've got dementia or something, and they've said yes. So it's, even though they're not necessarily conscious of what's going on here or this time frame or what's happening here, it doesn't mean that their minds aren't somewhere else that can still be communicated to. And I think there's comas and the dementia, and there's another person that was very fascinating. So I was caring for this gentleman. This gentleman could not see nothing. He'd never been able to see all his life, and he'd never been able to hear all his life. they've managed to teach him communication through touch. So you would tap him 3 times if you wanted to go to the toilet, asking him if you wanted to go to the toilet, and then he would get up and then you'd lead him to the toilet. So you would just tap him 3 times, and this is the only communication he had. What was strange was at night, when I was doing a night shift with him, is I just felt this presence walking around. It just felt like a ghost. He felt like a ghost out of body. But one of the fascinating things is with this gentleman, he couldn't see nothing, he couldn't hear nothing, but he had an obsession with drinking water. He'd just drink it directly from the tap, to the point that he'd be wetting himself as he's drinking it. So it wasn't healthy for him, because he would continually drink it obsessively. Because maybe it's anything he can feel the water running through him, maybe he could feel that, and that stimulated him, and that's what he wanted to do all the time. But it wasn't safe. So they used to have to lock the kitchen, lock the bathrooms. But what they said is, if they ever left the kitchen unlocked, they said he would wake up and walk straight to the kitchen and go to the tap. And they didn't know how he knew when he was asleep, considering that he's deaf and blind, how he knew that the kitchen door had been left open. And I believe that when he was in a sleep state, his brain had developed another way of being conscious of the world. For his survival, remember, this is a survival instinct. If he didn't know how to get water or how to get food, being deaf and being blind, he would die. Now, in the real world, he probably would have died without help anyway. But his brain had evolved a way that he would survive. And I believe that he was very much on a spiritual plane most of the time. Certainly when he was asleep, he had basically taken himself out of body. His sensory perception had come out of the body for him to be aware of other things around him. And on these 3 different types of people, really, I believe that this communication can happen. So when we're communicating with spirit again, it's this conscious shift. We teach how to do all the chakras, and open all the chakras and close the chakras, but what we're actually, and that's a long process, but once you get used to doing that and you keep practicing it, and you know what the conscious shift feels like, you know what it feels like to be communicating with spirit, then you can do it automatically. Now, on big shows or big events, I would still open all my chakras individually. Take me about 5 to 10 minutes to do it. I would still do that to get a greater connection, or to feel more confident with that connection. It's more about boosting my confidence of having that connection, because nothing worse than standing on stage to do a mediumship demonstration and not connecting with spirit. So, for my own confidence, I used to do it. But in theory and in practice, most of the time, you can just shift in, shift out, shift in, without having to consciously go through all the chakras. Even though on a subconscious level, your chakras are probably still opening up and closing accordingly. So the meditations and the visualizations, the learning how to relax properly so you can get a deeper meditation, deeper visualization, the work projects, these are just teaching you this one simple thing of doing this conscious shift and shifting your consciousness into spirit and back. And of course developing your healing. But by developing your healing, you're also developing your ability to shift your consciousness, shift your awareness to other people, to other things, to other aspects of life. Thank you.